What's up guys, it's Meg and it's that time of the week again where we get to talk about the best show on television, AMC's The Walking Dead. Today we're discussing Season 6, Episode 7. This is an amazing episode. Glenn is alive. I think most of us were pretty sure that that was going to happen, but just actually finally getting that confirmation that yes, he is alive was just such a relief. Before we get started with the review, I want to say two things. One is no filming spoilers. Please, if you've read the summary for the mid-season finale or you've seen filming spoilers or if you know anything that's going to happen in the mid-season finale, do not tell me. Secondly, in this review, there will be slight comic spoilers. Now, somebody got on me the other day for saying a filming or a comic spoiler. Let me be clear, okay? On this channel, I obviously don't want to spoil anything for anyone. I absolutely hate filming spoilers for this television show, but I've read the comics and the No Way Out comic storyline was published in the comic version like over a year ago. So for those of you who are saying, you know, don't spoil the comics for me, I'm not going to spoil current comic storylines like The Whisperers or things like that, but come on, a comic storyline from over a year ago, you guys have had plenty of time if you wanted to read it, So at this point, I kind of feel like if you haven't read it by now, then maybe you're not going to. Don't get mad at me if I spoil something for you. I'm going to try and be very like, you know, careful what I say, but I'm also not gonna, you know, I mean, this was published over a year ago in the comics, so if you haven't read it by now, it's kind of not my problem, you know? I'm sorry, I'm just saying it like it is. Read the comics though, I mean, you guys would love them. Even a non-comic reader, like I never read any comics before in my life. I immediately fell in love with the Walking Dead comics. They're amazing. Just get them from your library or, you know, buy them over the internet. You can do that. And they're awesome. And then we won't be worrying about spoilers. Okay, end comic spoiler rant. Let's get into the review. Okay, so Glenn is alive. Super happy about that. I know there's a lot of like people who are not happy about, you know, there's filming errors in the way he fell versus the way the scene was shot. You know what? I'm just happy he's alive, okay? Enid was there when he crawled out from under the dumpster. So my question is, how long has she been there? Did she watch the whole thing? Because it's kind of seemed like she knew he was down there. He stumbles over, after the walkers walk away, he stumbles over to a tarp over a window, and the window's open. Now, has that window been open the entire time? Because he went straight to it, almost like he knew. Well, maybe they should have just crawled in that window in the first place. Whatever. That being said, she does not want to go back to Alexandria. It takes a lot of convincing for Glenn to convince her to come back, and she's still not even, you know, 100% that she wants to go back. It's obvious to me that she has been through a lot of emotional trauma here, and she would rather close herself off altogether and not feel anything for anyone else, you know, for fear that they will be eaten or die, you know, just like her parents and family were. So they're headed back to Alexandria. Towards the end of the episode, we see them at Alexandria. They see it. They also see the walls come down, and they send up the green balloons, and Maggie finds out, you know, she believes that that's a sign from them that they're alive. I think Glenn and Enid are going to play a huge role in the mid-season finale, and somehow, whether or not in the mid-season finale or if the No Way Out continues into the second half of the season, Glenn and Enid are going to play a big part in somehow drawing these walkers away from Alexandria and saving the group. I do believe that Enid is going to take up the comic Sophia role. I won't go into that in great detail, but I am, at this point, the fact that they're going to become really close out here. I really believe it. So back at Alexandria, we keep seeing glimpses of the tower. And now this is a tower that the wolves truck ran into. So it's very precarious there. Part of it is like burnt down, I think. And we keep seeing boards falling off of it. Now I knew once I saw this that that's what was leading. You know, those were hints that the tower was going to come down by the end of the episode. Turns out we were right. Perfect way for the tower to get breached. I appreciated that. I appreciated that they didn't just, you know, have the walkers push the tower, or not push the tower, but push the wall down. I like that they kind of put a little spin on it and made it so that the tower, which had already been run into, you know, was already unstable, then crashed down into the fence. Love that. We see Morgan, so before this happens, before the tower falls, we see Morgan sit down with Rick and Carol and Michonne, and he kind of describes his mentality a little bit more, his philosophy. And the reason they're having this sit down meeting is because Carol has told Rick that she believes Morgan let some of the wolves go. And these are the wolves, you know, Morgan finds out that these wolves attacked Rick. And Morgan, you know, goes on about his philosophy and how he was brought back from madness because of this, you know, because of what is the guy's name now? I can't think. His mentor. He was brought back, you know, this philosophy brought him back from the madness that he was experiencing. And so he wants to try living like this. Rick says something that is very foreshadowing, I believe. And he says, or he asks Morgan, do you really think you can do this without getting blood on your hands? And, you know, Morgan says something along the lines like he doesn't really know if what he's doing is right, but he wants to try. So Morgan still does not tell anyone that he has the wolf captured. I mean, this would be the prime opportunity to say, all right, you guys, you know, I captured this wolf, this survivor from this bad group, what should we do? But he doesn't say anything, and oh, this is not gonna end well. It is not gonna end well. We know this. I mean, this is just, it's all leading up to it. Luckily, Carol gets very suspicious of Morgan when she sees him leaving, him and Denise leaving and going kind of the same way and yet separately, and she gets very suspicious. Thank God for Carol. She leaves Judith with Jesse though, and I'm really worried that the Jesse storyline from the comics will come into play in this episode, in this next episode, and that Judith's fate will be at risk here. And we can't kill the baby. Walking Dead, we can't kill the baby, okay? The baby has to survive. We need 2 babies. Can you, Judith and Maggie's baby, Maggie and Glenn's baby? Oh, hopefully we can have 2 babies, okay? I'm worried though, after seeing her be left in Jesse's hands, that we could see the end of Judith in the next episode. I'm really worried about this. I'm definitely crossing my fingers that Carol comes to the rescue here. We don't get to see anything that happens with Carol and Morgan. Morgan looks like he's leaving from wherever the wolf is being held. Denise is in there. Maybe he's just standing guard. I don't know. But Carol sees him and demands to know who's in there. Well, we don't find out, you know, she doesn't find out until the next episode, obviously, because the tower comes down. So we do know that they're going to probably be locked in there together. And Judith will be with Jesse and Sam, and we know Ron's not with them. So before we get into Ron though, I want to talk briefly about Spencer. Not much to say here. He tries to be the hero. It doesn't really work out for him. He almost gets killed. It was a little bit of a crazy stunt, but I applaud him for making the effort. Although I was really worried that Tara was going to get it because of his stupidity. Now, a really important thing that happened in this scene, though, was Tara risks her life to save him. She doesn't have any qualms about, you know, throwing herself in the line of fire in order to save someone. You know, she's not intentionally trying to get herself killed, but she's also not going to let someone die because they're a separate group. Now, Rick yells at her after she saves Spencer, and he yells like, you didn't have to, something like you didn't have to do that for them. And he specifically says them. She flips him off, and we realize that Rick is still in this mentality of us versus them. While everyone else, Michonne, Tara, you know, Maggie, everyone else is coming to terms with it. Everyone in the community is us. We're all in this together. We just made a huge play to try and lead all of these walkers away, and everyone worked together. And Rick still, in times of, you know, a struggle and in times of craziness where things are just going wrong really fast, it's very much us and the Rick Grimes family and them. And I think his mentality here is going to come into play in the next episode, and we'll kind of see that we'll see him make some choices that, you know, either confirms that he is still very much us and I'm only looking out for my people, or we'll see by the end of that episode, hopefully, him understanding the them aspect. I don't know if that made any sense. Tell me if that made sense or not. Sometimes it's hard for me to like project into words what I'm trying to say. So Maggie sees Glenn's signal. Yay. Before she can do anything about it, of course, the wall comes down. The whole time, Ron is in the background here. He's stolen bullets. He is walking very suspiciously behind Carl. Comic readers will have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen next in the last episode here. Now, my guess is he is trying to kill Carl. He wants to hurt Rick, and he wants to hurt Carl. Carl's a pain in the ass. I don't blame him, but obviously he's taking it too far. I think, though, that he will end up getting scared. This is kind of my thing, is he's walking after Carl like he's gonna shoot Carl, but I have this feeling that the walkers will come, he'll get scared and just start shooting wildly, which is a scene in the comics but done by someone else. And I'm thinking that he will, you know, we will see the Carl comic storyline come into play here, where we see Carl get injured in a very specific way. And I think it's going to be at Ron's hand. And hopefully, I'm hoping Ron gets eaten. I am. I'll save all of that for a different predictions video. That's pretty much it. Everything is just leading up. You know, we see at the end of this episode, the wall comes down and walkers are pouring into Alexandria. And we have our main group split up into different areas, you know, of Alexandria here, and they see the walkers pouring in, and everybody's running their different ways, and this next episode is going to be absolutely huge. Also, though, I can't imagine that the No Way Out storyline is going to end at the end of episode 8 here. Nothing will be better at the end of the episode. They'll probably leave us hanging, and then come February, we're gonna get to see the rest of No Way Out, you know, how they draw the walkers away, how they close up the fence, you know, all of these things. We're gonna see way more action in the second half of the season here. So yeah, that's it for my review. I guess I'm kind of doing a few predictions here as well. I'll do a separate predictions video, but all in all, I thought this was a great episode. I am so pumped to see what comes in episode 8 here. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. I just, crossing my fingers. I'm crossing my fingers for Carol and Judith. I don't know. You guys think we'll see Daryl and Abraham and Sasha? I hope so. This is only going to be an hour-long episode, right? So that's a lot to kind of cram into one episode. I'm wondering if we'll even see them. I hope so. And I also hope we get confirmation on who yelled help. I don't think it's Glenn. All right, you guys. That's it for my review. Sorry if I'm rambling. I hope you guys have a great day. Leave me comments. Tell me what you thought of this episode, or if I missed something and you want to discuss it more. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.